and welcome to the Sunday game on this All-Ireland Hurling Final Special. Well, coming up over the next hour or so, highlights of this afternoon's thrilling final. We'll have the latest news from the winners' camp, analysis of the big game, our live phone-in, and the presentation of the Telecom Éireann RTE Sport Man of the Match Award. Where will that beautiful piece of waterfall crystal go? Well, we'll be finding out later on. Right now, though, let's meet our guest panellists for the night. And we're delighted to have two men who were on opposing sides in last year's All-Ireland final, Tipperary's Nicholas English and Kieran Barr of Antrim. We'll be hearing from them a little bit later on. We might be hearing from you too. Now, our phone lines have been open since tea time today. We'll have your comments later on. In fact, I gather our phone lines have been jammed since tea time today. Well, the All-Ireland final for 1990 has been won and lost, and that means as ever that there are very contrasting moods in the two camps at this stage of the evening. Later on, we'll be visiting the Ashling Hotel, where the Galway players and officials and fans are licking their wounds, and to the Royal Marine Hotel in Dunleary for the Cork celebrations. Right now, though, it's time for the headlines of the day in sport. Here's Miles.
Magnificent welcome for the Munster champions, seen as outsiders for the title, but with 8 of the team that beat Galway.
Just happy for everybody that's involved in the team, the selectors, the panel. We carry this 26 panel, and we've trained hard since October, and I think we deserved it today.
Look, the game boils down to if the ball bounces for you in the day. If you're lucky enough to be in the right place, the right time, you know. I was lucky enough to be in the right place a few times today, and that's the way it works, you know.
I think you can never get enough of these things, you know. Winning an All-Ireland must be one of the best things, or one of the best feelings anybody could get. Fantastic feeling.
They say sometimes during all sports the goalies have to be a bit mad, but I'd say right now you're mad with happiness.
It was fantastic. I think it was a great team performance, you know. The lads outside deserve great credit. I'm glad for everyone, for the team, backroom staff, for the supporters. They wrote us off again today like tourists. I think we proved the point today.
Oh, I think the better team won on the day. It was a classic game, and they seemed to just get the breaks, you know, bounce the ball here and there, a few all frees here and there, just touch and go. It was a great game.
Atmosphere, even though he had to pay £60 for a Hogan stand ticket on the black market. 13-year-old Joel McSweeney from Gurtnascarthy, Cooley, County Cork, was moved to poetry, but by what he saw on the television screen. He wrote, "Roses are red, the Cork jersey is too. Cork's just beaten Galway and they'll beat Meath too." May not be the greatest of poetry, but his heart's in the right place. OK, let's go to our panellists tonight then, Nicholas English and Kieran Barr. Nicky, it was a great game of hurling, and especially, I suppose, if you were a Cork man or woman.
Yeah, it was a very enjoyable game from a neutral point of view, but I mean, it must go down as one of Cork's great All-Ireland triumphs. They've won 5 matches to get their triumph, and it was fantastic. You know, they displayed great spirit, and it was a superb display. Especially from the starting point they made at the beginning of the summer, when nobody would have given them any chance of being Munster champions, let alone All-Ireland champions. That's right. They had a very tough game the last day, of course, to get over Tipperary. But I mean, they were underdogs in the Munster final, and people wrote them off again coming up to this game, you know, and they proved everybody wrong in the finish. Well, sure, Kieran, I'm sure that you will agree with that fully, but maybe we look at it from a Galway point of view with you, and they will be stunned and sickened this evening by their defeat. What went wrong for Galway? Were Cork just too good for them in the end, or did they just let it slip somewhere?
Very hard to say. I think that maybe people overrated Galway coming into this final because they had to beat Offaly, who, as Nicholas maybe has forgotten, Cork had to beat Antrim to get to the final. And maybe that's what's happening. People are disregarding some of the opponents these teams have to play. But I think Galway can look back on this game and say it takes two teams to make a very good game, and it takes two exceptional teams to make a great game. And today's was a great game. And Cyril Farrell, I think, was very apt in his comments that he said that there were two good teams that bounced the ball, beat them. Kevin Hennessy said that as well. And I think Galway have got great depth and skill and power. And if Antrim had 2 All-Irelands at this stage in the 80s, we'd be very happy.
Sure. It's been an unusual thing, I suppose, for Cork to go in as underdogs to Galway ever, but that's the way it was today. Cork needed a good start to this game, and they got a dream start to it.
Yeah, they got a fantastic start. They needed to get that start. They were underdogs. They had 6 or 7 fellas playing in their first All-Ireland final. Yeah. And they got it again with Kevin Hennessy scoring a superb goal. John Fitzgibbon fought well for it here, and it's a fantastic finish by Kevin Hennessy. One touch, and he struck it really well.
Question mark over the Galway backs, though, Nicholas.
Yeah, maybe Dermot Fahy was a little bit unsettled there. He got a chance to clear it, and he didn't. But it was very well taken goal.
Well, Kieran, it was the worst possible start, obviously, from Galway. People were saying then, well, now Galway, they're really up against it. This is the kind of start they didn't want to give away. But their side responded, and this must surely have encouraged the Galway supporters, not to mention the team, because they lifted themselves again from that.
They did, but it was based on a half-back dominance and Joe Cooney. That's what it was based on. It wasn't based on anything else. There's Keady running with the ball.
But this is really, I mean, this is stirring stuff. I mean, this is the kind of thing to lift any team.
And that should inspire the rest of the players. But it seemed to be Keady, the rest of the halfbacks, and Cooney who were doing the scoring and doing the playing. And guys like Cunningham and Noel Lane and these other guys were not really putting away the chances that they should have been. And maybe that's now, in hindsight, we can reflect on that and say, fine, that's good. These guys should have done better at the time. But at that stage, maybe you just don't know what's happening. Some of the wind were a factor, I think, as well.
Well, Nicky, we just saw Kieran, or Joe Cooney's goal there. I mean, a smashing goal. He was playing superb stuff. And here's McInerney, another burst out of that much vaunted half-back line.
This is another point for Joe Cooney. At that stage, Joe Cooney was absolutely lord of the pitch. He was having a dream game. He was completely on top, and every chance he was getting, he was putting them away. You know, he was fantastic.
Well, Kieran, you were looking at the other side of it there, the fact that Galway weren't maybe putting all the chances away that they had. Now, despite their dominance, again, it seems to be a successive failing with Galway sides that they're just not putting away their chances.
It's a difficult thing to describe what way a player looks at it or reacts to it. Like, there's a ball that Noel Lane could have passed outside to Hopper McGrath, or could have taken the chance himself. And when we look back on it, we'll say in a split second, what's he going to do?
Sure.
And it's very difficult for him in that situation to say what he should do. So maybe he should have scored a goal, maybe not. But in the analysis at the end of the day, he should have taken a goal or two out of these situations, and they would have went in 6 points greater than
I suppose it always looks worse, as you said, in hindsight, because at the time, what more could be asked of him? Just bang the ball over the bar. We were going well at that stage.
This chance is right in front of him, and the ball is hopping, and the guy's coming down on him. So what should he do? He should have struck it, but maybe it should have went in the goal rather than over the bar. This chance is probably the worst miss, because Dennis Walsh is taken out of it here by...
This is actually disallowed.
Sorry, that's just
the
before
disallowed goal.
Goal. Yeah. There's a chance after that.
You think Galway should feel aggrieved with that, Nicky?
I think they have to count themselves a little bit unlucky there. I mean, I think the whistle has just gone when Joe's been knocked there, but there was a case for having an advantage there. But these are the decisions, you know.
Yeah.
And this was
the one you're talking about.
There's Dennis Walsh is knocked to the ground, and that should have been.
Yeah, he just gave it a little kick, just that little bit too far ahead of him.
I think maybe the pitch was a little bit grassy there today as well. I felt the grass might be just that little bit long there, and you know, maybe it wasn't helping.
Well, Ger Canning was saying this before the match. He was down on the pitch looking at the grass. He was making the point that it was very tufty in places.
Yeah, but I think from Galway's point of view, they were completely on top for the first half, and they went in 5 points in front. You know, when they could conceivably have gone in 10, 11, 12 points in front, given the dominance of Joe Cooney and their half-back line and Michael Coleman in the middle of the field at that stage.
Sure. OK, Nicky, Kieran, we'll talk some more about this match and various aspects to it a little bit later on in the programme. But of course, since this afternoon's game, the Cork players and officials have had the opportunity to unwind just a little, time to relax, have some refreshments, a meal perhaps, all in time for what surely will be a long night of celebrations. Well, Ger Canning is with them. Let's see how things are going right now.
Thank you, Michael. Welcome to the Royal Marine Hotel in Dunleera, where the Cork celebrations, well, to put it mildly, they're in full swing. They really are celebrating and having the time of their life. With me, the Cork coach, Father Michael O'Brien. You must be absolutely delighted with yourself.
I am, Jim, Ger, yes. absolutely delighted.
It was a terrific performance. You said you wanted to up that Munster final performance, and I think they responded.
Yes, they did. Credit due to the players, all credit due to the players. They deserve it all. They put in a lot of hard work during the year, and the management backroom give full credit to the players. They do it on the day or not, and they did it today for us, and we're very proud of them.
There were a few scary moments, I thought, along the way during the 70 minutes. You're never going to dominate a match from start to finish in any case, but at half-time you were behind by 5 points. How concerned were you?
A little, but there was a very strong wind, and we straightened things out in the dressing room slightly. And
what do you mean by that? How did you straighten things out in the dressing room?
We just told you know, everybody get their act together. 15 players, not 10. And you know, I pay tribute to them all for what they did. A whole 17 players, what they did in the second half, and really got a grip of the situation. And it's only what they deserved.
Well, 5:15 is no mean tally in an All-Ireland hurling final. A good day for the forwards. With me now, Captain Tomás Mulcahy and Kevin Hennessy. Tomás, what odds would this Cork team have been given back in May of winning the championship on the first Sunday in September, I wonder?
That's a good question, actually, Jerry, you know, and I think we've proved a point to a lot of people today, you know. Back last October, we trained for one thing in our mind, and that was to be victorious in All-Ireland final day. And we had one or two hiccups on the way, especially our semi-final defeat by Wexford in the league semi-final. And we took an awful lot of criticism that day and afterwards, and nobody in the country gave us a chance actually going into today's final, you know. And we just went out to prove a point, and I think we proved a point to everybody today that you can never down a Cork team.
Well, one man who made the point as well, who was heavily criticised in the lead up into this game, and you said that you would defy your critics. Kevin Hennessy, you enjoyed yourself out there today, Kevin.
There's no... There's no way I had critics today, no way at all. I mean, you only lose your last game, so everyone went out today to win the All-Ireland for Cork, and the end story was that Cork played for the 70 minutes, and we were victorious. And it's not an individual game; it's a team game, and no matter what people say, forwards will always be there, hopefully, to get the scores. They weren't all there this year, Mull and a few others, but. You know, I mean, the backs do a big job as well, and in the end of the day, it is a team game.
Well done, lads. We'll be back here, Michael, a bit later on for the announcement of the man of the match. Join us then.
We certainly will. Thank you, Ger. Well, by contrast, and not surprisingly, things are not quite so happy in the Galway camp. Since the match, they've returned to their headquarters to gather their thoughts and to head to what they'd hoped would be a victory celebration in the Point Theatre. Well, let's find out from Jim Carney how they've been bearing up in defeat.
Well, the Galway Hotel is always sardine-packed, always a hive of activity. The team party, the fans, they always congregate here in great numbers. There's always a tremendous buzz about the place. Well, it's a bit like that this evening, but understandably, it's a little bit muted too. The disappointment of losing, you can see it everywhere. But everybody here in the hotel, all the supporters especially, are immensely proud of the team and the magnificent contribution they made to a thrilling final. I'm joined now by Noel Lane. Noel, you were playing your 8th All-Ireland final. You've won 3, but I know that you dearly, dearly wanted to win this one.
Well, I'm not good at the sums, Jim, but I don't know what percentage that is, 3 out of 8, but I'm not happy with it. I'd have loved to have won today dearly and back it in at that, but we'll just have to come back again next year and try that a little bit harder.
It's very disappointing, Jim. We've been training now for 4 months in the summertime, and we've started really last January when we started in the league. We're building with a young team. We thought we had a good team together. We came up and we played our best, and it didn't go well on the day. And fair play to Cork. They were a better team on the day and they won. That's what it's all about.
We're disappointed, and I'm very disappointed, particularly for Joe Cooney as captain, because I was captain in '86 and I know what it's like. But
Joe certainly played his part today.
Joe played a brilliant first half, maybe a little bit subdued the second half, but still contributed to a great performance by Galway.
Every time you finish, even when you're losing or when you're winning, if you won today, it would still be the end of an era. You'll probably have fellows who will get injured between now and the next championship. You'll have fellows who have been dropped off the panel, and you'll have fellows who will just retire. So I'd say the next time you see the Galway team in the field, you'll see a different team again. So it probably will be the end of an era, and it's a sad way to go.
It's very difficult when you have a wife, and I have 3 kids, Eve, Mark and Patrick. It's very difficult when you're going away 5 or 6 evenings a week, and you feel guilty at times, like leaving them when they're crying, Daddy, don't go again. But I love the game, and Carmel pushes me and helps me and encourages me all the way. And I've enjoyed all my years of hurling.
Phelan Murphy, how does life start at all again after losing in All-Ireland?
Well, it's hard, I suppose. We'll have to go back again and start off doing the work at home and all of that. But I'll be honest with you, we're utterly disappointed. There's no doubt it would have crowned it really if we won today. We'd have everything done with this particular team. This is our 6th year together. We had a great run. There were a great crowd of lads. We were talking about the same 23, 24 lads.
We conceded some goals and we probably missed some chances. Probably midway through the second half, we took the wrong option. Really, we possibly should have taken a pint, and instead of that, was cleared and went down and ended up a score below. I maintained before the game that the only puck of the ball in the match, and as it turned out, that's all it was.
Cyril has done a lot for Hurling in Galway. I was with him back in '78. We won in All-Ireland under 21. Cyril was there in '80. He was there in '81, and we were together again in '83. Won under 21, and Cyril won the minor in '83. Under 21 again in '86, and all this run with the seniors. It has been a great run, but I suppose it's part of life.
Well, I've got to ask you the question everybody's asking, Phelan, really. Will we see Cyril there next year?
Well, definitely. I hope Cyril will be there, whether he's there as a spectator or as a manager. I'm not going to answer that now. I hope he'll be there anyways.
I think he could still be there as manager somehow. OK, let's go back to our analysis, back to Nicholas English and Kieran Barr. We were looking at various aspects of this game a moment ago. We've taken it up really to half-time, Nicholas. Now, at half-time, Galway led by five points. Cork came out in the second half needing to do something. They had a couple of missed chances. And you thought when they missed those that really it wouldn't be their day.
Yeah, I think they needed to get a good start in the second half, being 5 points down and having the wind at their backs. And they had a couple of great chances immediately after the throw-in for the second half. This one here, there's a number of them have a bite at it, and it's eventually goes out for a 65.
Oh, that stayed out was amazing.
Yeah, and then Kevin Hennessy just immediately afterwards caught a great ball just on the edge of the square. He might have been fouled, but he hit a good shot, and John Collins made a good save. You know, so
yeah,
those two were cleared and saved, and you thought, well, Cork are going to be in trouble, and Galway went back up the field and they got 2 points to put them 7 points in front. You know, so you'd say at that stage that might be enough.
Yeah, well, Kieran, then of course along came Tomás Mulcahy to put a completely different complexion on this game altogether.
He sure did. I think the Cork players had Father O'Brien's words ringing in their ears. It appeared that they had conviction and belief in themselves greater than they had, and Mulcahy's goal was superb. I think we were going to discuss him later on in terms of his overall possession and tribute to the game, but in this instance it is a long clearance and he gets in behind.
These are the things that were really killing Galway, these long clearances from Ger
Cunningham. That's the first time that Keady was beaten in the game, and he made it count. He took his chance there and he saw the opening and he took it with both hands. There's the Keady sort of falls away from him and finishes it off. That's the chances you get. He proved that in '86 when he beat Galway with a great goal, and he did similar thing the other day, similar type of goal.
Sure. Well, Nicholas, that was a goal well taken by Tomás Mulcahy, but the big talking point shortly after that was Martin Naughton's missed goal chance. Now, we're going to have a look at this again, and a lot of people are asking after the game, it must have been more difficult to keep it out than put it in. Let's take a look at this again and see how you read it.
I think Martin had a great chance, but again, he's very unlucky. Ger Cunningham makes a good save, but he's probably lucky as well in that the ball hits him into the face.
That face of Ger Cunningham's has taken more punishment than most faces are entitled to do.
I mean, it's a good job for Cork that he got his face in the way.
I suppose a forward in a situation like that, though, they have to hit it a whack, and you know, 9 times out of 10 will probably slip in.
Well, Ger did everything he possibly could do. He came out and he narrowed the angle for Martin, and he made it difficult. And at the end of the day, he came out on top.
Yeah. Kieran, of course, the other side of that is why wasn't it a 65?
It should have been a 65, and everybody around me was screaming and shouting along with myself. It should have been, like, the umpire gives a wide. The umpire obviously didn't see it. I'm sure the referee saw it, and the reaction of John Considine. Considine went over and started clapping Cunningham on the back, and it was obvious that it had hit Cunningham. Now, he did everything, as Nicky says, he did everything right. He stood up to the guy and just faced him, and the ball hit him, and he got the look.
Well, I suppose those things happen so quickly in a game, it might have slipped by. Now, Nicky, I want to get on to something that you highlighted to me this evening, and this is how Tony Keady started to be beaten by Tomás Mulcahy, and this was a very significant factor as the course of this game changed.
I think at this stage, I mean, you're talking about 15, 20 minutes into the second second half, the game was up for grabs. And this was when the All-Ireland final was won. And this is the way it was won. Tomás Mulcahy came centre forward on Tony Keady, who had been dominating up to that. And Tomás Mulcahy dictated the game from there on. I mean, he said, I'm captain of the Cork team, and I'm going to come out here, and I don't care if you're Tony Keady or who you are, I'm going to dominate from now on. And that's what happened. And conversely, at the other end, Joe Cooney's influence, which had been immense up to half-time, started to wane. Now, whether Joe started to tire or whether Jim Cashman came into it more, but you know, Joe wasn't winning the ball as much as he was. So
this
really,
this is another thing that you're highlighting, the fact that, you know, this was one of the most interesting battles going into the match, and Cooney was winning this hands down in the first half. But then in the second half, really, he started to fade very badly.
Yeah, well, I suppose Joe had done fantastic work up to half-time. He really had carried the Galway attack on his own, you know. And there's a couple of instances here now where the Galway forwards, at this stage, the game is up for grabs. Maybe after Cork getting the goal like 1986, Galway are remembering back, and there's little doubts coming in their minds that we can't beat Cork, because, you know, that was an indication there where there was no Galway fella really running for the ball. And I think Joe physically was tired at this stage. If you see here, there's a couple of instances where Sean O'Gorman makes 2 interceptions.
Yeah, we might just actually come back to that one, because this was another thing you pointed out, that really Joe was walking at this stage as Sean O'Gorman, as we saw him just being beaten there by Sean O'Gorman.
Yeah, he was really, I mean, out on his feet nearly at that stage. If you see it here, he just didn't have the same spark that he had in the first half. I mean, this ball
here is coming to the ball shortly.
It comes back to him now, but he looks tired there to me.
Yeah. Just not sharp enough to he should have stuck himself in there for that ball.
I mean, the pass wasn't particularly good one anyway. But I mean, in the first half, Joe was winning all those balls. But I mean, he at that stage he wasn't playing as well as he was in the first half, and I mean, it was shown in the game.
Well, as we said in the first half, Joe Cooney was keeping them going, and suddenly when Cooney wasn't keeping them going, there was very few Galway men that could do it. Cunningham had a poor game in my opinion. He ran very well with the ball, but Joe Cooney is a different type of player than Cunningham. Joe Cooney was scoring, whereas Cunningham was not scoring. And that was the simple fact of it. They stopped scoring points, and Father O'Brien is probably makes it more simple than anybody. If you score more than they do, you'll win the match. And they were dependent on Joe Cooney, and when Joe Cooney got tired, physically tired, they had no one else to take up the game.
OK, Kieran, well, there's still one thing to be decided from this year's All-Ireland final, and that's the naming of the Telecom Air and RTE Sport Man of the Match. Now, last year, in fact, it was Nicholas English here who received the award. Now, he had the job of selecting this year's winner. So, who gets that magnificent piece of Waterford crystal? Well, let's find out right now.
Thank you, Michael, and you're very welcome back to the Royal Marine Hotel here in Dunleary. The celebrations are in full swing. But there's one final piece of drama to unfold on a day of high drama. This beautifully engraved piece of Waterford crystal is the Telecom Éireann RTE Sport Man of the Match for the 1990 hurling final. And making the presentation is the Chief Executive of Telecom Éireann, Fergus McGovern. Well, as in all great presentations, there's a little slip of paper. Hang on, this is my telephone bill. The man of the match for the 1990 final, ladies and gentlemen, is Tomás Mulcahy. Come and join us.
Tomás, congratulations on the double honour, not alone of captaining the victorious team, but being nominated Man of the Match and recipient of the Telecom Éireann RTE Man of the Match trophy, particularly man of such an exceptionally high quality match.
Thanks very much indeed. Thanks very much.
Well, Tomas, not a bad way to finish a very good day.
Being honest, Ger, this is totally unexpected. My main ambition coming up here this weekend was to go up and collect the McCarthy Cup. I must say this is a tremendous bonus for me. But I accept this on behalf of the 26 players, the 5 selectors, Father O'Brien, Gerald McCarthy, because we've tried so hard since last October to get the McCarthy Cup back to Cork, and I think we succeeded. So I accept this trophy on behalf of the rest of the lads.
I'm sure, nonetheless, you'll find a nice little place for this somewhere in the Mulcahy household.
Oh, definitely. My wife Martine is over there and she was on to me, but...
Ladies and gentlemen, the Telecom Air and RTE Sport Man of the Match, I give you Tomas Mulcahy.
The Cork captain playing a captain's part at Croke Park today, Nicholas English. A difficult game, I should think, to pick a man of the match from. Why did you go for Tomas?
It was a very, very difficult game to pick man of the match in. If I was picking at half-time, then there would be no doubt in anybody's mind Joe Cooney would have to be man of the match. But as the game went on, really for Cork it should have been a team award, really, because there were 15 men that could have got it. When it came down to picking it in the end, really there was 2 contenders, I suppose. Sean O'Gorman, who played very, very well all through. But the match was really won in the last 15 minutes. And for about a 10-minute spell, Tomas Mulcahy said, I'm going to take this game by the scruff of the neck, and I'm going to come out and I'm going to take the McCarthy Cup back to Cork. So the match was won there and then, and Tomas Mulcahy, from me, and that vital spell gave the greatest leadership to Cork. So,
well, he surely did that, Nicholas. Now, a man who's going to take the results of the day in sport by the scruff of the neck, here's Miles Duncan. The GAA should follow the example of American football and have a panel of judges. I can't see them agreeing to that. Two referees, Nicholas English.
I don't know, I think it would be awkward enough in club games down in Tipperary to get 2 referees. You would find it difficult enough to get 1 referee at times. I thought John Moore, referee, did a particularly good job today. Maybe John Fitz might have taken more than 3 steps, all right, but I think he did okay.
Yeah. What do you think, Kieran? For big games, at least 2 refs?
For big games, it's a possibility. In water polo, they have 2 referees, and but the game is actually made up of 4 quarters. So if you have a bad referee in one half of the pitch, it's made equal by the fact that you're playing 4 quarters, and you'll have him only for 2. In hurling and Gaelic football, if you have a bad referee at one end, you'll very quickly find out about it.
Sure, yeah.
The difference between a good and bad referee will then be very, very clear, and that might be what the GAA wants.
OK, well, maybe not. Right, before we close on the phone calls, and apologies to all the people we couldn't get to either on the phone or your comments, but Harry Hopkins from County Meath sends his congratulations to Cork, and he advises them to celebrate for all their worth, because it'll be Meath's turn in a fortnight. And so then, on that note, we leave it from the Sunday game for this week. It's been a hectic day for Cork. Mind you, it's been a hectic summer for them as well. And one that now has had its great awards. Well, the big question is, of course, can Cork do the double? Well, that's sure to be decided in a fortnight's time when they take on Leinster champions Meath. And that should be quite a match. For the moment, though, let me thank my panellists for the night, Kieran Barr and Nicholas English. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in a fortnight's time. Bye-bye.